Have you ever walked away from a conversation thinking, wait, how did I end up agreeing to that? I'm Dr. Lana Denny, Bulletproof Babes, self-defense based on behavioral sciences. Today, I'm going to show you two manipulation techniques that most people never notice while they're happening. The presupposition and its little brother, the double bind. These are two conversational techniques that are incredibly powerful because they don't argue with you directly on the surface, but rather they quietly shape the way you think before you even realize what's happening. So let's start with the presupposition. That is making a statement or a question with a built-in assumption. So the statement is leading you down a road that they want, but may not be true or right for you at all. And so if you said to your friend who has red hair, hey, do you use L'Oreal's H10 or H12 to get that color? Unless she's told you that she dyes her hair, you're making an assumption that it's not her natural color. Now, that's a rather benign but rude example. A time that it was used on me and I was able to recognize it happened after I had purchased SEO services from this guy from my healthcare office. And after 6 months of his program, our Google Analytics showed a worse ranking on Google and a decreased clicks to our website. So I scheduled a meeting so I could fire his company because I had proof that whatever he was doing wasn't working and it was wasting my money. Now, this guy was one of these slick, aggressive, fast-talking salesmen. When I brought up the analytics that clearly showed his company was doing nothing for us, he said with a smirk on his face, well, just because you're hurting for money, you don't want to cut your marketing. That's the worst thing you could do. You just haven't given this campaign enough time. It was an insult and a distraction away from the facts, all in one statement. But I was able to see the presupposition in use. I was canceling because his company wasn't producing the results promised. But the presupposition was that it was about money. Like he was trying to shame me, right? It wasn't. We were fine. I just wanted to try SEO. So when I said to him, you're using a presupposition that it's about money instead of your performance, that smirk dropped from his face and the meeting ended. So a presupposition is an assumption hidden inside a question or a statement. Notice something, your brain wants to automatically answer the question instead of checking whether the assumption is true or even recognizing it for that matter. So if you ever had anybody say to you, why are you always being so defensive? And then you get stuck trying to prove that you're not defensive instead of stopping and thinking, am I being defensive? Then you have already accepted that hidden assumption. If someone were to try to gain the upper hand on me by saying that, and it wasn't true, I would reply, that's interesting. What makes you think that? Because it's either just the way they're interpreting what was said or they're trying to purposely manipulate me. By the way, if it were true, I would say, I'm feeling defensive because this conversation feels threatening. I would still put it back on the other person. So if this happens to you, stop. Take a breath and ask yourself, what is the assumption hidden inside that statement or question? And sometimes it's going to be true and sometimes it's not. If it's not, call it out and it loses its power, just like I did with the salesman. Now, let's look at its little brother, the double bind. This is the question that produces the yes or yes answer without people realizing it in the moment. So imagine if some stranger had been chatting up your kid and said, do you want me to drive you straight home or go for ice cream first? Notice all of those choices involve your kid getting into that person's car. It's not, do you want me to give you a drive home? The presupposition is that he or she will get in the car. And that's how presupposition and the double bind are related. Now, I will admit, I have used this on people and I have taught it to all the receptionists who have ever worked for me. But we only use the power for good. Say a patient owed us money for some reason. The receptionist would say something like, you have an outstanding balance of $47. Would you like to pay in cash or with credit card? The option of not paying disappeared. It's off the table. So whenever someone gives you two options, ask yourself, is there another option that's better for me? What if someone said to you, since you already know you owe me an apology, would you rather apologize privately or in front of everyone? Would you recognize the presupposition and the subsequent double bind? Hopefully you would after watching this. The good news is these techniques depend on you reacting automatically. The moment you slow down and ask yourself, what is the hidden assumption? Or is there another option? The spell is broken. It loses its power. So here's your homework. For the next few days, listen carefully to the questions people ask you. See if you can catch just one presupposition or one double bind. Once you start looking for them, you'll be amazed at how often they appear in everyday conversations. And hey, if you're dealing with someone who leaves you constantly second guessing yourself, feeling manipulated, or doing things that you really do not want to do, you don't have to figure it out all alone. As a master certified professional coach, I work one-on-one with people to help them recognize manipulation, set healthy boundaries, and develop practical strategies for handling difficult situations and people. Sometimes when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to see the pattern. Having someone outside the situation can make all the difference. And sometimes it only takes one session to help you see things more clearly and know what to do. If you'd like to schedule a 30-minute consultation with me, you'll find the link in the description below. I hope that helps, and I'll see you soon.